Hi, mathematicians. Today I would like to talk to you about expenses and income. Now, income is the amount of money received for work performed. Expenses are payments for goods and services. Now, we need to learn about two different types of expenses. One expense is called a fixed expense. That's an expense that occurs regularly, and the amount does not change from week to week or month to month. And those are called fixed expenses. So here's some examples of fixed expenses. Examples of fixed expenses would be the amount of money paid for rent, the amount of a car payment, the amount of a loan payment for a house. For instance, if you rent an apartment or you live in a house, you pay the same amount for that house or apartment each month. The car payment is the same amount every single month. The amount paid for car insurance is a set rate. The amount paid for trash pickup service from month to month, it is included in your water bill. The amount paid for cell phone contract. Now, if you go over your data plan, there may be overage charges and things like that, but the amount that you pay for the phone should be the same amount each month. If you have a magazine subscription, you get that magazine each month, they charge you the same amount of money each month. The amount paid for cable television. The amount paid for a school lunch without extras. If you just go through the line, it's the same amount of money every single time you go through the line. Can you think of other examples of fixed expenses that you or your family might have? The other expenses that we need to learn about are called variable expenses. Now, you've probably heard of variables in science class. Variables are amounts of money that can be changed. They can be changed from week to week or even month to month, depending on what the expense is. Here are some examples. Grocery store. Now, we just had a holiday, so more than likely your parents probably spent more at the grocery store for the holidays than they will this week. The amount paid for gasoline. Sometimes the price of gasoline will be higher and you have to pay more, or it may be lower. The amount paid for electricity. In the winter months, when it's really cold or when it's really hot, then usually your electricity bill is higher because you use more energy. However, if you are using electricity like now when it's pretty calm outside and it's not too hot and it's not too cold, then those months you're going to have a relatively small electricity bill. So to understand electricity and water, those things will change depending on how much of the energy or the water you use. The amount paid for clothing. Well, you could go and find something that's on sale versus something that is expensive. The amount paid for shoes. Sometimes you spend a lot on shoes, sometimes you don't. The amount paid for school supplies. Like for instance, this month you probably aren't buying that many school supplies. Well, some of you need pencils though. But right before school started, you probably spent a lot more on school supplies. The amount for medical care. You could just go get a flu shot or you could need a cast. Those things will change. That's because they're variable. The amount of paid for a prescription. Some prescriptions are expensive and some are really cheap. The amount paid for entertainment. You could go to the movies or you could just go to Taco Bell to eat. The amount paid for a school lunch with extras. Some of you go and you get 2 pieces of pizza or you get ice cream. Well, some days you don't get ice cream. So those would be variables. They change. Can you think of other examples of variable expenses that you or your family have? So we're going to be talking about variable expenses, which change from week to week, month to month, and fixed expenses that stay the same. They do not change.